មាជិកគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិប្រាជ្ញាផ្លេចមានសាមគ្គីក្រុមនានាសង្គ្រោះបម្រើការពារកម្ពុជាខ្មែរព្រមគ្រប់គ្នាទាមទារសិទ្ធិសេរីឯករាជ្យបូរណភាពអធិបតេយ្យខ្មែរប្រុសស្រីបដូរផ្ដាច់ថែរក្សាមិនឲ្យបរទេសឈ្លានពានមកត្រួតត្រាសម្បត្តិដូនតាធនធានជាតិខ្មែរព្រះអាទិត្យរាំងបំភ្លឺកម្ពុជាខ្មែរឯកភាពគ្នាដងស្រាយបញ្ហាយោបាយសេដ្ឋកិច្ចសង្គមអហិង្សាសិលធម៌ថ្លៃថ្លាជីវភាពរុងរឿងដីយើងពូជយើងភូខលយើងខ្មែរក្រោកឡើងសង្គ្រោះជាតិខេមរាបោះឆ្នោតឲ្យចំដល់អំណាចជូនប្រជាដើម្បីកម្ពុជារួមរស់សេងសានជ័យយោគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិសមាជិកគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិប្រាជ្ញាថ្មីគ្មានសាមគ្គីក្រុមនានាសង្គ្រោះបម្រើការពារកម្ពុជាខ្មែរព្រមគ្រប់គ្នាទាមទារសិទ្ធិសេរីឯករាជ្យបូរណភាពអធិបតេយ្យខ្មែរប្រុសស្រីបដូរផ្ដាច់ថែរក្សាមិនឲ្យបរទេសឈ្លានពានមកត្រួតត្រាសម្បត្តិដូនតាធនធានជាតិខ្មែរព្រះអាទិត្យរាំងបំភ្លឺកម្ពុជាខ្មែរឯកភាពគ្នាដងស្រាយបញ្ហាយោបាយសេដ្ឋកិច្ចសង្គមអហិង្សាសិលធម៌ថ្លៃថ្លាជីវភាពរុងរឿងដីយើងពូជយើងភូខលយើងខ្មែរក្រោកឡើងសង្គ្រោះជាតិខេមរាបោះឆ្នោតឲ្យចំផ្ដល់អំណាចជូនប្រជាដើម្បីកម្ពុជារួមរស់សេងសាន
and thank you for joining our show and welcome to Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. This is part of the CNRP-A, CNRP-America live show. My name is Linda Wu. Today is May the 3rd, 2022. Again, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your watching our show and viewing our show. Please, if you enjoy, please share, like, and share our show. You're going to enjoy the show tonight. I have two wonderful guests. They've been here before, but both of them, so I am grateful that they're here today. Again, this is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. The reason I'm always explaining the reason we are doing the show, so that way our next generation, our current youth right now that either living in Cambodia or living outside of Cambodia will understand what's going on in Cambodia and be able to be critically thinking and also to help out what's going on in Cambodia to understand because we are living in America or overseas, we should be able to aware of what's going on in Cambodia. So that's why we are speaking English today instead of Khmer. Again, this is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice, part of CNRP-A, CNRP-America. Our topic today is U.S. ASEAN Special Summit 2022. The summit is going to happen next week, May 12 and May 13. in Washington, D.C., USA. So we will discuss about that with both of my guests, and we will give our input, and also we would like to invite you to join the protest next week as well. Before I start and introduce my guests, I would like your support on I always ask you to support me before our show. So this is, I would like our audience, our viewer to head to Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry.org. The Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry, what they did, they are putting together all the evidence, that evidence of justice and justice in Cambodia, injustice in Cambodia. So Khmer people have they put all this so that Khmer people have the ability to organize and carry out their own commission or inquiry that the international community have failed to provide. So what happened is they gather evidence of the government of Hun Sen massive violations of democracy and human rights, and also that incorporated in the Paris Peace Accord and numerous international treaty obligations. The Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia will present in a convincing way to the international community and all the relevant international forum. So basically, all these last year, a year and a half ago, you signed a petition calling ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. We would like to end impunity. We want to end impunity in Cambodia, and we have gathered over 112,000 signatures. So thank you so much for signing the petition. Thank you so much for sharing the petitions. But that's not enough. We do still, the campaign is still at change.org, and the title Ending Impunity for Justice in Cambodia. But for the Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry, take that all this evidence and compile them and present them in a way so that way the international community can understand what's going on, understand the violations of the regime, Hun Sen regime, so the massive violations of democracy and human rights. So I'm going to play a little bit of in English, it's like over an hour video, but I'm going to, a little bit introductions. I played some portions of the video before, but I'm going to play a little bit today. And also, like I said, please head to youtube.com. It's called Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia Open Sessions. And the video is by Save Cambodia. So far, we have over 2.9K views, but we still need your help to check it out, to view, like, subscribe that. And the more you engage on that video, the more we say, hey, this is something that we want the commissions of inquiry to actually help to with that evidence. Let me find that video, and then I can play that from YouTube. But I would like you to head to youtube.com and search for Commissions of Inquiry for Cambodia. Let me see. Let me share that.
To the launch announcement session of the Fact-Finding Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia is designed to tell the truth to power about how and why democracy and human rights are being systematically destroyed in Cambodia by the Hun Sen government. It is no accident that this commission begins its work today, on October 23, 2021. This date marks the 30th anniversary of the Paris Peace Accords, the international agreement that ended the Indochina Wars and established the internationally agreed-upon framework for the operation and governance of the modern state of Cambodia. The Accord set out in detail the basic principles and standards of democracy and human rights that the international community mandated and the Hun Sen government agreed would serve as the framework for how Cambodia would operate. But in recent years, most especially since the lead-up to the 2018 national elections, these standards have been grossly and extensively violated in order to keep Hun Sen in power and his family and friends enriched. Hun Sen has misused the laws, the courts, and the security law enforcement systems to suppress and eliminate the political opposition, to assassinate, arrest, and imprison anyone speaking out to criticize his government, to repress free speech and an independent media, and to line the pockets of Hun Sen's family members and supporters. Independent monitoring groups like Human Rights Watch and Global Witness have issued reports highlighting these violations, and international officials and agencies like the UN Special Rapporteur in Cambodia, Rona Smith, have issued statements condemning these practices, but their challenges have not been able to stop or even to moderate the abuses that have been taking place. Recognizing that we have reached the point of no return, where more meaningful and systemic remedial action is required if we are to prevent 37 more years of suffocatingly abusive dictatorial governance, the Cambodian people have decided to take matters into their own hands by creating an independent fact-finding commission of inquiry to lay out the stark reality and to identify in very specific terms what must be done to end the repressive policies and practices that have ruled Cambodia for the past 37 years. The goal must be to return Cambodia to the human rights and democracy standards that the Paris Peace Accord set out and guaranteed 30 years ago today. In this launch announcement session of the Fact-Finding Commission, followed by several additional 2-hour sessions that will be held over the coming year, each hearing dealing with a critical, substantive issue will be addressed through testimonies by expert witnesses and representatives of victims of the abuses. In these sessions, we will begin to see and hear, in the strictest of terms, the reality of how and why the Hun Sen regime has destroyed democracy and human rights in Cambodia for its benefit and at the expense of the Cambodian people. We will help everyone understand why these repressive policies and practices violated not only the Paris Peace Accords, but numerous international treaties and international laws. We will identify the remedial actions that now must be taken to bring about meaningful and systemic change and improvement on the democracy and human rights fronts. Starting us off today as introductory keynote speaker will be former Australian Member of Parliament of Victoria, Hong Lim. Explain.
Thank you. I dropped the link for both for the YouTube that you just watched. Please help to watch and help to share and like and subscribe that YouTube video, because it's very important. Again, earlier, over a year and a half ago, we asked everybody to sign the petition. Now we are gathering those informations, and your help is very important. So the link is on the chat, so please click, share, and like the same way. We ask you to support that YouTube. I have 2 wonderful guests today. I have Lok Ricky and Samady. They've been here many times. Lok Ricky have not been here for a while, but I really glad that he is here. So let me bring them out. Bring Lok Ricky out. Mr. Ricky. How are you?
I am okay. I'm happy to be on the show again. I'm back at work, CNRP-America. I'm not back at my real work yet, but that is here.
Thank you. For our audience, if you didn't know, Mr. Ricky, is a general secretary for CNRP-A, and so is very involved. And thank you so much for taking the time from your busy schedule to come to our Khmer Youth Voices for Justice.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And my second guest, his name is Samady. Samady. How are you, Samady?
I'm fine, thank you, Wong.
Thank you. And Samady, he is almost every other week. So he's give his time, and thank you, Samady, for being the voice of our youth in America, and also for anybody who can understand English. It's a voice for our youth overseas, and also Samady speak very well Cambodian. So reach out to him, make comment. He can understand, he also can respond as well. Samady is the president of the youth in CNRP-A. He's also a president in for his youth chapter in Los Angeles, California. So welcome, Samady, and also thank you, Samady and Lokrikia, for being here today.
Thank you too for taking your time to advocate democracy in here to our Cambodian American youth especially.
Thank you. Our topic is U.S. ASEAN Special Summit 2022. This summit was supposed to happen in March, but it got delayed due to many other reasons, due to the Ukraine war, or due to the schedule wasn't aligned with the U.S. With the Joe Biden administrations. So it's going to happen. If they didn't cancel, I don't think they cancel, and it's going to happen next week, May 12th and May 13th. And ASEAN consists of 10 countries. Those countries will be here. Those countries, let me try to think. Let me see. The 10 countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Brunei, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. So out of those 10, we already know 8 of the country will show up. Philippines is not gonna join the meeting next week. Cambodia, unfortunately, is already confirmed he's coming, Hun Sen. And the other one that's not coming in is Myanmar, because they was not invited. So with that being said, actually the U.S. They have a very short 1-minute clip of the summit. They kind of like pre-pump it up the summit. So I'm gonna play a little bit. It's less than a minute, and then we'll comment from that, because from that video we should be able to say what's the focus on the summit for next week. Bear with me. I can, while I find the video.
The United States is thrilled to host a U.S. ASEAN Special Summit in Washington, D.C. on May 12th and 13th. From youth development programs to promoting democracy, to combating disinformation, to training for entrepreneurs, to responding to the climate crisis, we have worked together for 45 years and will continue to work together to tackle our most pressing challenges. The purpose of ASEAN and U.S. investments in Southeast Asia is to improve the lives of Southeast Asians and to protect the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We look forward to discussing our mutual goals and our commitments. What matters to you? What are your aspirations for Southeast Asia?
That's a little clip, and they do have a YouTube channel that count down to the summit date. So it's a very thing that's going to happen. So I don't think they're going to cancel. Mr. Ricky, the question is, what's your inspirations for? What are you looking for in this this meeting next week happening?
From watching the clip, that my first time seeing it, I take 2 notes there. Number one is he mentioned democracy, and then also the life of the Asian people. Of course, the life means liberty and freedom and human rights. But unfortunately, those 2 topics, human rights and democracies, are not on the table for this discussion. This is just to improve the ties, which the United States see the danger of the influence from China in Southeast Asia. So first, the United States wants to bring the rotation leaders, Hun Sen, this year, be the leader of ASEAN, to come to the United States. But just to improve the ties alone is not enough. that's contradicting to what the message in there just said for less than a minute. And in fact, this one less than minute message mean a lot to the people of ASEAN, of the 10 countries that Linda just mentioned, the Southeast Asian nations, who suffer a lot and a long time, especially in Burma. Over 1,700 people have been killed, and many have been burned alive, and over 13,000 have been jailed in Myanmar, which led by Min Aung Hlaing, who did the coup in February of last year. And now the ASEAN is failing the 5 points consensus. And the 5-point consensus, I just want to add that, number one is to end the violence. Number two is to provide humanitarian assistance. Three is to form a special ASEAN envoys. And then 4 is to have all parties come together to talk, to find a solution. And number 5 is to have the special envoys mediate the discussion among the leaders in Burma to end the war there, the human atrocity, especially crimes against humanity committed by the new military junta. And in Cambodia, of course, we have so many people going to jail. It's just the matter of like years, not years, but has been going on for years right now. And for 37 years, Hun Sen has been in power. And we cannot ignore the human rights and democracy. That is why we work so hard. The Myanmar people, leaders, activists, along with the Cambodian American here in the United States, work so hard to write an open letters to President Biden's, also the State Departments and the Subcommittee of Foreign Relations, both the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives, to put these two issues, to include these two issues on the table, because the people of ASEAN are suffering. Just to have the ties, the strong tie alone is not enough. I know it's a first step toward in the positive direction, but also we want to include that as well. So we can talk more about it during the show here.
Thank you, look, Ricky. Now, Samady, what should we watch for? What's the youth should watch for next week when the summit happened on May 12 and May 13? What should we pay attention? Like look, Ricky said in the video, said democracy, the liberty of life, and the freedom. Is that something that is going to be on the table, and is it something that we should pay attention? We want that to happen, but will it happen?
Yes, I feel like it will happen because, as you know, before the Asian summit, China also invited Thailand and other country to attend their little meeting, ASEAN meeting before, but some country could not attend. As of now, most of the country decide to come to the U.S., like Cambodia, which is a good thing because that means Hun Sen is still afraid of the U.S. influence in Cambodian economic, and we are going to see him soon. And I feel like most people blame Biden administration for inviting dictatorship like Hun Sen to come, but at the same time, I feel like this is a great opportunity to negotiate diplomacy with Hun Sen to go easy on those Naga world people. I think U.S. will also take action against those humanitarian crisis in Cambodia regarding Naga world. Throwing people in jail, wrongfully quarantine them, even though they follow the COVID guideline. And also this is a great chance for us who love democracy to express our voice as youth against Hun Sen, because nobody dare to protest against Hun Sen openly, and now it is our chance to express our voice against the dictatorship. Right now, it is our chance to ask him how does it feel to be measured, how far he can walk on U.S. soil, because he hated those kind of words when people ask him those questions. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to express our voice against some dictatorship like Hun Sen. And also, as you know, during COVID-19, most Asian countries is not happy with China. U.S. want to use this opportunity to bring those ASEAN country closest to the U.S. For the U.S. to have influence on them, to pull them away from China. In this case, Cambodia and Vietnam is the two major country that the U.S. can influence.
Thank you, Samady. Look, Ricky, Samady talking about the 10 country where China's influence. Would the summit be helpful to bring those country closer to United States? Because I'm not sure you pay attention when we're talking about Ukraine, the war in Ukraine. Not many, like those 10 country is very far apart from each other on what agreeing on the war. Some countries saying they support it, some countries stay quiet, and Cambodia is just staying on the wagon, whatever other people saying, so that way they be safe. They're not standing firm. What is the likelihood that I guess that 8 country here in America and also moving away from China and toward the policy of the Joe Biden administration?
I think what the U.S. is trying to do is to be friend with those countries, but not at the cost of human rights abuses. They cannot just gain the support for them to work against China or Russia by overlooking the democracy and human rights that has been abused in those countries in Southeast Asia. And yes, I agree with the administration. We need to work together. We need to have a good relationship in order for us to trust one another, in order for us to work for a long-term long-term relationship. But at the meantime, they need to listen to the U.S. administration need to listen to the people cries, not to the ASEAN leader lies. Because sometimes they say, "Oh, we have peace, right? It's real peace in Cambodia." Of course, what Hun Sen want the United States to believe, real peace. Come on, there's no freedom of assembly, of press, petition. You can see that the Naga world leader get into jails, and also the speech. Yeah, yes, we have freedom of religion, but the other 4 we don't have it. So that's not just happened in Cambodia, but look at Vietnam, the same way too, and Laos, and also of course Myanmar. I just mentioned it earlier, but the Philippines as well. But Thailand, look what Thailand did. They dissolved the opposition party just like Hun Sen did to the CNRP. And I know Brunei is ruled by the king, of course, and then a few other countries and Malaysia too. But at least there's some democracy in there. So for our viewers, we need to understand that you cannot just build a relationship based on like by ignoring the human rights and democracy. And that's what U.S. is known for anyway. We are the world, and even in justice for all. Where's the word justice for all in the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance? Freedom and justice for all, and that's what we want. Same. And then also, let me finish my last point here, and they say that we the people, and American and Cambodian people, alike. We want to treat them. So we don't want leaders to be exempt from following the law, from obeying the constitution, the law of the land, just like they do in here. I hope Hun Sen is learning something from here. We want them, those leaders, to embrace the democracy and at least the message of democracy from the United States, and then spread it to their own country, so that those people will have a light at the tunnel. That what we have been hoping for so many years. We have been working so hard for those leaders to respect human rights and democracy, and choose the leaders at their own will, not by force, not by buying votes.
Thank you, look, Ricky. When you're talking about those leaders coming to America to learn about democracy and learning about human rights and listen to that, Hun Sen been here before. Samady, he been in New York. So anything changed and then? Is it getting worse?
I don't think anything has changed, but at the same time, he's kind of like afraid to like how do you put this, to act as a strong man, I guess, because he still need fund from the U.S. even though he openly said he doesn't need help from any other country. But at the same time, we have to look at the vote regarding Ukrainian war, right? Cambodian and Vietnam play neutral. If they openly support Russia, they know the consequences. So Hun Sen, even though he's a dictatorship, he's not dumb. Sometimes he is flexible when the pressure is being put heavy on his hand. So he will listen, but I don't know if he is changing as of now. Since the last time he visited New York, he still arrested people. He still fired people from Naga World. And I think when Hun Sen came to New York, he doesn't come by himself. He probably buy the whole plane from his top elite executive people in CPP to come with him to show how much people supported him coming to the U.S. So I feel like we're gonna have two sides when he visit. One is us protesting, not welcoming Hun Sen, and the other one is his side coming to support and show in Cambodian national television saying that Samdach is being warmly welcomed to the U.S. But I feel like Biden administration will have some talk under the table with Vietnam and Cambodia regarding their ties with China and Russia on the democracy. I think if U.S. put more heavy pressures, yes, they can influence Hun Sen decision. For example, right now we see it's almost commune elections, and if U.S. Can negotiate properly, the election might turn out to be smooth. Yes, they're gonna steal the elections, but Hun Sen doesn't have the gut to dissolve another upcoming party and when it comes to elections. So it has some form of factor playing into how much Hun Sen willing to go regarding Cambodian democracy when visiting Biden administration.
Thank you, Samady. Talking about elections, in Cambodia's on June 5th, less than a little bit more than a month, Cambodia gonna have a commune election. So with that being said, today is the World Press Freedom Day, meaning celebrating to acknowledge the hard working of the people on the press, on journalism. While Cambodia is not free, it's not free at all. The press is very tight, and also lately the Cambodian regime, Hun Sen regime, putting a national gateway as well. So everything has been, even though if they came out and say Cambodia have a free press, but the press release, I believe, came out that Cambodia ranked 142 out of 180. So no, it's not free. And if it's free, also the gateway controlling it, controlling the information from getting out, controlling the information from getting in. So it's not free at all. And due to when election is coming up, in just say 4 weeks, I don't believe the press is free at all for everybody in Cambodia, and that's when Hun Sen is going to come here to America. That's what one of the things that he had to face with, that he democracy and freedom of the press, freedom of religion, like Lokrikia said, that's only one areas in Cambodia that you can free to practice, because after you free to practice, as long as you don't criticize or point out what's wrong with the regime. So if you are doing practicing your religion, but if you said in a certain way that denouncing the government or saying why this stuff happened and questioning the regime, you've been also in trouble as well. So nobody is safe in Cambodia, whether you are a reporter or not. If you just there taking Facebook picture, you will be in question as well. Why this picture was taken? Who are you? So it's not free of the freedom at all in Cambodia when it regarding to the press. Look, Rikia, we in America, we can go on live on Facebook. Like our show right now, I don't think many people in Cambodia can watch because it's probably being filtered. And CNRP is one of the party that was banned from the regime. So the likelihood that it's going to Cambodia is very slim. Hun Sen is going to be here in America. We're going to have a protest in Washington, D.C. Can Lokrikia help us? Like, why are we doing it? Why are we therefore telling our youth, we want our youth to participate, we want people to get involved? Why should they go to Washington, D.C. and get involved?
Good question, Linda. But before I answer your question, I want to go back a little bit. When you talk about religion, talking about the basic of rights of religion, the freedom of religion, assembly, petition, press, and speech, those 5, I said that we have about 4, but you mentioned it to me that even freedom of religion, we don't have that either. Why? Yes, we have the right to choose what kind of freedom we want, what kind of religion we want to practice in our country. But then when it goes deeper, for example, the Buddhism, the Dharma talk, any monks who preach Dharma talk, like touching or sensitive to the government, that monk will be disrobed or will be threatened or go to jail. And it's just using the Dharma talk because Buddha is pure democracy. He wants people to believe in themselves first before they believe in him. We are the religion that is free, but any monks who try to teach the Dharma that really compare the Pol Pot era to this present era and to the other era, if it touches the government, that monk is not going to be in peace. There will be police or secret police going after them. We have monks that have been in jail. You see that? And monks have been disrobed and monks have been killed. So actually, there's no freedom at all if you want to say it correctly. Thank you for mentioning that. So I just want our viewer to know this is the fact. These are the facts. We don't just say it. We had monks like Venerable Sarai, who was disrobed and put in jail. And now he was released as a human, as a layman. But and many other monks who are escaping Cambodia. Yes. And they live in Thailand, and Venerable Bobet, who's living in Europe right now. He came out from Cambodia. And look at Venerable, we have a lot of patriarch monks in here, even Venerable Ngin Pain, who just passed away a couple of weeks ago, could not go back. And the Venerable Bud Bunting is also under, certain maybe court under war, or they have a warrant to arrest him. There are a few, even Honorable Hock Sawan in Canada. So that's Cambodia. Let's go back to your question here. Okay, you know, many Cambodians who came here as refugees in the 70s and the 80s, including myself, came to America in 1984. We want to live free. We want to be in the U.S. so that our future, our grandchildren or children will have a better life instead of suffering and being tortured and living under a repressive government that we have been going through in the Pol Pot and the Vietnamese era, occupation era right now. And we came here because we want them to go to school and then learn whatever they want to be. This is the land of the free, right? And now Hun Sen is coming to America and try to say, hey, look, come here to support me. I will, not him saying directly, but his people that came with him or the people that live here that promised the American government when they were living in a refugee camp, they came here that they will do anything because they will ask. One of the questions was asked, hey, why do you want to come to America? Oh, because I hate communists. I hate dictatorship because they kill my parents, they kill my relative. Now I want to escape. I want to live here. I do whatever you have offer me to do, including washing the bathroom or cleaning the toilet. We would do it. But now there are people that are in that were in that situation, and now they are embracing dictatorship. They're coming over here, and I heard. And we have in the DC area, in Long Beach, or even in where I live, in the city where I live, in Modesto. They said, okay, they want to receive Hun Sen. Our youth need to be thinking twice. Okay, we do not want to encourage these dictators to be in the land of the free and say, okay, I will do everything for you. And because this is for your future, we'll work together in Cambodia to build to develop the country, or especially in the part of human rights and democracy. And remember, Hun Sen has been in power for 37 years. He has been stealing election every 5 years, and he did a coup d'état, killing many by people. Yeah, we do not want him to be here in this land of the free. He's not welcome here. So we are going to hold the demonstration on May 12th, like Linda mentioned earlier. We all will come together, the Multi Alliance organization, including Thailand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Burma, the Philippines, and Cambodia. Cambodian, have been collaborating together in front of the White House and the Capitol Hill first at 10 o'clock. We're going to be demonstrating in the Capitol Hills and then walking toward the White House. And we encourage everyone to participate, especially our youth in the area to attend, because this is for you, for us all. We want to send a message, even to the U.S. government, to ask them, the following request. We want to, what is our goal? We want to take the U.S. to take the lead in promoting the genuine democracy and respect for human rights in ASEAN, especially in Cambodia and Myanmar. Number two, we ask for the U.S. to refuse the result and legitimacy of authoritarian regimes if the elections are not fair and free by the people. Number three, we want the U.S. to impose immediate arms embargo on Myanmar junta and the Hun Sen army, curtailing the electronic surveillance, like Linda said earlier about filtering the gateway, and then people don't have the freedom to choose, or not to choose mean to listen to whatever they want to listen, like Radio Free Asia or any free channel talking about democracy and promoting human rights. And then also we want the U.S. to place sanction on any company, financial institution, or country that assists the Myanmar junta and the Hun Sen army evade economic sanction and arms embargo. And request number 4, we want to ask the U.S. government to place a principle over political expediency and not befriend dictators and overlook their human rights and abuses just to gain support against China or Russia, and develop trade at the expense of democracy and human rights. So we will have this message actually to for the press, so that the Biden administration cannot ignore what we ask for. We want to support democracy, and so does him. He wants he want people to live in liberty, but we cannot if there is no justice. There is no stable life at all in where we live.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Mr.
a little
Ricky.
long, but
No, it's okay. Thank you. I just want to let our audience know that the sub foreign committee of our group that working on HR 4686 and S3052, we have started sending out the open letter to the senator and the representative, the Congress. So we are sending those letters, and to add to Lok Ricky point, we also want a seat on that table. We also want a seat to discuss, want a place to discuss, because we are opposition. Myanmar, the NUG, the National Unity Government, also because Myanmar is not joining because due to the military Min Aung Hlaing not meeting the 5 points that Lok Ricky mentioned earlier about stop fighting and all that. So since they are not here, and we also want to see, we want the Joe Biden administration to hear our side, to hear our point of view, and that's, I just want to add that. Also, Samady, let me put this picture up. I would like our youth and everybody to join Lok Ricky to protest in DC. This is his picture. He's always there, so please join the protest on May the 12th. How do you tell our youth, Samady, the difference between that protest and, because it's going to be two sides at the protest, how do you differentiate? How do you tell our youth that, because now we are encourage people to go. How do they know the difference between the side that we want democracy, we want Hun Sen to respect human rights, we want Hun Sen to respect the elections, versus the other side where they live in America, like Ms. Ricky said, they've been here since the 80s, late 70, early 80, that claim don't want the dictatorship, but then again go to support dictatorship. And when we're talking about dictatorship, 37 years as a prime minister, 30, and if you were born during the 80s, that's the only prime minister you ever going to see, one prime minister. And if that's not a dictatorship, I don't know what you call that. So how do you tell our youth, hey, how do you differentiate between the two sizes?
Well, one, as a youth who were born in America, Cambodian American youth who grew up in the U.S., I don't think they receive any benefit from the Hun Sen government like the other side.
Oh, you are muted.
Okay, so I was muted. So yeah, so those type of people on the other side, I think they become the U.S. citizen legally, and when becoming the U.S., I think they have to take one of the oath that say they are willing to renounce all allegiance to any foreign state or sovereignty of whom and which the applicant was previously subject or citizen to. In this case, they used to be a Cambodian citizen, and now they're supporting dictatorship. Isn't that violating their oath to become a U.S. citizen? And those people always say thank you, peace. If thank you, peace, why don't you go live in Cambodia instead,
Hmm.
and live in the U.S. if you want peace? By saying thank you, peace, one, you say the U.S. doesn't offer you peace by living in the U.S. And by saying thank you, peace, you prefer to live in Cambodia because that's the phrase that the Cambodian People Party use everywhere you go. You see the sign "Thank you, peace." So might as well go live in Cambodia. The life probably better in Cambodia. For youth, one, you are not influenced by the Cambodian government. You don't know what Pol Pot is. You don't know what Khmer Rouge is. And as growing up in the U.S., we were taught how to defend our law and constitution, and everyone shall have equal right, because our teachers always implement that into our head because U.S. is built on the foundation of law. Our country have history of unequal right, and democracy is the main thing that being taught ever since we were in kindergarten. So I believe it is now is the time for you to express your opinion re, uh, regarding dictatorship. In this case, Hun Sen, because he is visiting the U.S. On the land of the free, and I feel like it is our duty as Cambodian American to express the wrongdoing of Hun Sen, the wrongdoing of not solving the situation in Cambodia, where youth around my age can go to jail because they asking who fault is it that all this plastic has been piling up. They were thrown in jail and being cited with talking bad about the king and disrespected Cambodian country by saying things about environmental, basically, not even politics. This is our chance to bring those issues to light and talk about it. And Hun Sen not is become to non-existent in Cambodia because there's no youth there to stand up and speak about those issues and stand up against Hun Sen. I think it's the time for the youth like myself who being growing up in the U.S., uh, who being raised in the U.S. About democracy to express our opinion. This is a great time for youth who live in Washington to express their voice if possible. Um, I think their parent would also come too. So in this case, the more people show up, the more we show that not everyone is happy with how Hun Sen ruled Cambodia, and not everyone is brainwashed into thinking that Cambodian is peaceful. We have eye, we can see. So this is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Samdi. And if you are living in the East Coast, anyone that living in the East Coast and need a ride to Washington D.C., I know in Massachusetts they have buses. So I know there's a lot populations of Cambodian living or American Cambodian living in Boston or in Massachusetts. Please reach out to us. There's going to be buses that will be driving from Massachusetts or from Lowell, Massachusetts to Washington, D.C. And also, if someone approach you regarding protests and they offer you a pre-ride, free hotel, those are money that came from the regime. Samly and I will, and Logrikia will be pay everything out of pocket because that's what we truly believe, and we don't have a dictator that telling us or wanting us to go and support because we somebody said and Lubrikia said, we live in democracy and we are and human right is very important to us, the respect for everybody. And Lubrikia, please add some more if they where those money coming from, where those dirty money that they offer to free hotel, free rides, free stay during the protest. And hotel in Washington D.C. is very expensive. Washington D.C. is a very expensive place to live, very expensive place to do business. And if someone offer free hotel, free extra money to come and to protest that just dirty money that come from Cambodia, and where does the regime get those dirty money?
Yeah, and nothing is free, especially when it comes to food and hotel and airfare. If somebody give you free hotel, you probably questions, you have conscience to ask yourself, hey, how can I get that free? Who is this? Where did he get the money from? There are so many poor Cambodian people live under $2 a day, under $2 a day in Cambodia. They have the rice in the morning, but they don't have it in the evening, or they have it at lunch, but they don't have dinner. And there are people begging everywhere, including Hun Sen himself begging too, for support from China. He owe like $12 billion already in debt, using the name of Cambodia to borrow the money. And is it proper to spend the money on uh, his trip for the people to support him, instead of spending the money the right way, what it is used for, intentionally, for to help build the country to a better life, in better school, or Medicaid, like a social network, or hospital to treat the sick and the ill people in Cambodia. So this is what happened in Cambodia. And somebody raised a good point about the youth. We train our youth to recycle, to protect the environment, and our youth in Cambodia to protect our forestry being deforested, kill the trees, have been destroyed by the elite. They make millions of dollars out of that, and now the tree is getting uh, like 25% left of the forest in Cambodia. And those people who works against the government trying to protect the forest will be put in jail. In here, we plant one tree. I mean, they kill one tree, but they plant five, and the increase of the forest is getting more and more in the United States. So the opposite. And we just want the youth to know that when you go to Washington D.C., you are spending one day of your life, but you are contributing. It could be the whole life for the people, the unfortunate, the voiceless in Cambodia, to have the freedom and democracy that they are dreaming for. So please help our people by participating in a one-day demonstration on May 12th. It's going to be Thursday, May 12th, at 10 o'clock in front of Capitol Hill, and then move on to the White House. And number two, you don't just feel good about yourself participating in the demonstration, but also you will form like a good relationship with other Cambodian American who come from other states. And if you have a problem with transportation, if you live in the New York state, or Pennsylvania, or New Jersey, we have buses that will transport you over to DC, and also from Massachusetts. I know people in Rhode Island, Connecticut will be driving. North Carolina will be driving too. So it's always something to learn when you participate, especially this critical time when the leaders are here. They never been here before. The last time that Hun Sen came here was I believe was 2018, during the in New York on September 27 of 2018. And Hun Sen was so scared, he could not even walk away into the areas, because even right now too, I don't know how the U.S. is gonna do this, because people do not like him being here. So he's going to be here in the meeting with those leaders, and hopefully he learned something this time. If the second time he didn't learn anything, when he go back, he put more people in jail and try to kill more people, hurt more people, then it's time for him to go when he goes back, because the people will change him. You know, they he's not going to be here forever. Believe
Yeah,
me.
it's also our chance to tell him that, in America, that we don't support his dictatorship in Cambodia. We don't support his point of view, where he controlled the court, where everybody who's in jail of the famous incitement. This is America with freedom of speech, and we need to show him that this is we have a freedom to protest, to freedom to say, what you did in Cambodia is not acceptable, and that's our only chance. Also, when look Ricky is talking about people that working or living $1 or $2 per day, I just want to put into perspective for our youth and also for our audience. Um, our factory worker regular a month only get $192, less than $200. If they do overtime, they get $200, and that is not per week, that is per month. So it's come out to be like $1 an hour. And so please, that is into perspective on how horrible situation is. And if that's not motivate you to go and protest, I want to show a picture of someone. I want to show a picture of a young man that actually died in November. His name is Sinkorn. He is
Hmm.
a former activist, a CNRP activist. He was beaten, and the first time he was beaten, and he survived that in November of last year. Unfortunately, he cannot survive his um, the brutality that was on him. Um, and that's what we're talking about regarding the regime. And this is in May, so in November until now, it's been 7 months, and unfortunately, all the killing regarding opposition, the regime can never find who did it and who done it, and we all know who did it and why they did it, because of opposition, because the youth have a different idea of why, and also the youth questioning the regime. So we just want to motivate you, the youth, to make sure that you understand that this is really important. Please join the protest in Washington, D.C. Please come out. Like Ricky said, only one day out of your life. Come out, meet other youth, meet other Cambodian that actually fighting for a good cause, fighting for democracy, and fighting for human rights, fighting for election, free, fair, and just election in Cambodia, which is elections coming up in June, and also elections coming up next year as well. And we are an hour already. So thank you so much, Ricky, and thank you, Samady. I would like Samady to say something before we close the show, and then Ricky can continue that, and then I close the show. Go ahead, Samady.
Well, all in all, I just hope that everyone come to the protest to show that you are untouchable on U.S. soil. Because in Cambodia, if you dare to organize a group and embarrass some night like that, you probably get beaten or being thrown in jail. But in the U.S., no one can do anything to you. Even though Hun Sen brought his own security, they cannot touch you because you're American citizen. You just practice peaceful protest that has been in the amendment, freedom of speech. And also, last time, I think I watched on somewhere the document, I see Obama visited Vietnam for Asian Summit. He just walked around the city, eating pho like it's nothing. Just imagine Hun Sen want to visit the U.S., but never get a chance to walk around because he saw us protesting outside, and we will follow him everywhere he go if he wanted to enjoy his vacation in the U.S. for this diplomatic meeting. I think it play an important role because when we protest and he was afraid of us expressing our opinion, he had to be measured on where he can go and where he can't, because if he going around, let's say, try to enjoy a beautiful view of Washington, D.C., we will follow him. And this will go into Cambodian national TV to show that Samdech is not being welcome in the US, and to show that, hey, American youth who were born in the US is aware of Hun Sen wrongdoing, even though they never been in Cambodia before. And also a chance for you to see how Myanmar youth, even though Hun Sen is coming and Myanmar dictator junta is not coming, but they still come to support Cambodia protesting, just to show how dedicated Myanmar youth are and how aware they are on their country, and they would like to express their anger toward Hun Sen as the chair of ASEAN, that did not take any actions for Myanmar and openly supported Myanmar dictatorship. Just to show that we don't support Hun Sen in the U.S.
Thank you, Samady. Look, Ricky. Any last
Yeah,
minute?
I just want to the our viewer to understand that, normally when there is a statement like a leader coming to the U.S., all of us should be proud, right? Because he's invited. We want that kind of environment for our leaders. But this is quite the opposite, because this leader is a dictator. His hand is full of blood. His elites who work under him, like Linda usually call it the 12 dirty dozen, and these are the leaders that help him being in power for 37 years. And it's very unfortunate or sad to see every time he come to America, there's always protests against him. He never learned it. It's not just the first time. This is the second time, or even sometime even his son, you know, coming to Long Beach back in 20, 2016 or so. They were chasing him like cat and rat all over Long Beach, and he was afraid to come here again. So we don't want to do this, but what could we do as people? We want to send a message, say dictators are not welcome in the land of the free. And so the youth need to understand that if we don't protest now, if we don't work hard to get the freedom that we want, nothing is going to happen. Freedom is not free. Nobody is going to give us free. Even America, in America here too, we work so hard. Our soldiers and young servicemen and women die in many wars just to um, to protect the country, for the freedom that we enjoy every day here. So again, we have to work. We have to work together to win this dictators who has been in power for so many years. And I ask everyone to participate, and either by, if those that cannot go, contribute, donate to the leaders that live in almost every state that in your community, for a good cause. This is, we call it bon. Donating money to help. This is for helping, not hurting anyone. This is helping. So when you help someone, you are going to feel at least accomplish something that you have done for your community, for your people, for your country. Thank you.
Thank you, look, Ricky. I couldn't even say it even better than you and Samady said. Thank you so much for being here. And the reason we live in America, we live overseas, because democracy will allow us to be the voice of the people that couldn't have the voice in Cambodia. So that is our duty. That is our responsibility to speak out when we are able to speak out. On that note, thank you so much, Ricky, and thank you, Samady, for being here. Great conversations. Our topic today was actually we've been talking about the U.S. ASEAN Summit that's going to happen next week on May 12th and May 13th. So, and throughout the whole show, we encourage you to participate join the rally in Washington, D.C. And please show up, speak up, and be the voice that people in Cambodia couldn't have the voice. So thank you so much, both guys, and
Thank you too,
see you next
Linda.
time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank you,
Samady.
Samady. Thank you, Lubrikia. Thank you, our guests, for being here today. We are at the end of our show. This is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. This is part of the CNRP-America live TV show. Our topic for today was U.S. ASEAN Special Summit 2022. Like I said, it's going to happen next week on May 12 and May 13. Hun San himself already confirmed by sending the letter to Joe Biden that he will be in America. So on that note, we have discussed what are we hoping to accomplish, what Cambodia gonna accomplish with the Joe Biden administrations, and also we would like to encourage everyone to go to Washington D.C. It's going to be a protest on May 12th because we do not one dictator in the land of democracy, the land that respects human rights. So please be the voice, like I always say, please be the voice of those that couldn't speak, that didn't have our rights in Cambodia. So please show up, speak up, and be proactive, and just show up and support the cause, the true cause that our parents here, why we are in America, that is democracy, freedom of expressions, freedom of speech, respect for human rights, and also our right to vote, where the vote is, we take it for granted, where other country voting is not free, fair, or just election. So it's not a true election. So please show up. And again, May 12th, 2022, which is next week. So thank you so much, our audience, for tuning in tonight, for being here. I always said, please let me know if you have any topic you want me to talk about. Otherwise, I wish you a good evening if you're in America, and good morning if you somewhere out. Hopefully you have a great day, a great week. And I wish you having a great day and a great week. And I will see you next Tuesday, the same time. And thank you and have a good evening.